Hi guys, and welcome to the Breitling Sea Dweller. I mean, the Breitling Super Ocean. Now, I've actually bought this watch today, and I'm over the moon with it. It's a box and papers. It was just over, as near as damn it, £2,000, 2,100, something like that. Box and papers, all in really good condition. Not a mark on it. Bracelet's pretty good, There's a wee bit of wear there, but the watch is probably, I forget now, look, it's probably 15 years old. These aren't scratches, this is just, they just mark, don't they? But you think of a sea dweller. You think of a sea dweller of this era. It's got very similar power reserve, about 48 hours. This is about 42. They're very similar watches, really, But obviously, a sea dweller of that era is costing you 4 or 5 times the cost of this. And to my view, now I've tried on those sea dwellers. Is it a better watch than this? Well, I don't think so. There might be a bit of precious metal in the sea dweller that gives it the nod, in terms of overall value. But is it worth 4 times much more than this? No, absolutely not. Look at these applied markers. They're lovely, This watch is done very, very well. I like the playful nature of this bezel. I like it. It reminds me of a 1970s football, like the old Mitre football font. It's just how it reminds me, But it's not as serious as the Rolex. It's not as obvious as the Rolex, I don't think. Because this is quite a sporty, more modern detail on the dial. It goes under the radar a bit more. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, how can a blingy watch like that go under the radar? But most of the time, it's under your sleeve anyway. You just don't notice it. But I've had this running side by side against my Rolex, and it's bang on. Right, this is running absolutely spot on. So I think it's 48 millimeters lug to lug. This is actually a 42 mil watch, but I think it wears exactly the same as my Rolex. And I'm just going to go and get my Rolex. Bear with me. So for some of you who haven't pulled the pin on a decent watch yet and are sort of weighing up, watch sizes and stuff, this is 41, this is 42. And depending on how I hold them to camera, this is the thing with watch reviews. You must go and try watches on. You see, the Breitling can look bigger than the Rolex. Yeah, if I do that, now the Rolex looks smaller. Okay. But the lug to lug, if you look across the screen, they are, as near as makes no difference, the same. Okay. Now, I am sure that this is a millimetre wider than this, but there's nothing unnecessary. And the way the lugs taper, it doesn't look overly big on the wrist. It really doesn't. So if I pop it on, you see, it's very hard to show them on the camera perfectly. Just bear with me. So that's nearly a 7-inch wrist. So you can see where the lugs are. The lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist, So I'm trying to look at my wrist as I'm looking in the camera. It's just very difficult. So as you look down here, I think the watch is about 15 mil, but a good chunk of the watch does nestle into your wrist. As you wear the watch loose on your sleeve, on your wrist like this, I could tighten this up a little bit more. But when the watch goes under the sleeve, you don't even notice you got the watch on. You don't notice it. Now, I think with a few links out, this is weighing at 180 grams. You know, I think with all the links in, it weighs around 200, but you're going to take a few links out. But this is £2,000, one absolute bargain, guys. Like the quality in this watch, I love the way you've got these, the way they put these at an angle, you know, as opposed to the Rolex dead straight. But when you feel these two watches, let me just take this one off. When you feel these two watches, you can't feel a quality difference. You know, it's not, you know, this is 5 times the cost of this. Now I know this is it's probably unfair, okay, because used prices of these are more than retail, where used prices of these drop like a stone. But if you feel these two watches, you cannot feel where there's a difference in quality at all. You know, there's no sharp edges on this Breitling. Absolutely none. Now, the bezel on the Rolex is silkier, but big deal, really. Big deal. It's not like when you turn. Okay, so it's quieter and sort of easier, maybe. It is definitely more mechanical, but big deal. Does it feel cheap? No. Is there any back play? None at all. You know? Yeah, I am super happy with this. Now, how long I keep it is another matter. Okay. But you cannot go wrong with this watch, guys. £2,000. Like, forget buying a Longines or a Tag. Just get yourself a used Breitling. You know. 5,000 feet of water resistance. You know, like I say, this is like a sea dweller of a watch. You know. Just trying to give you every angle I can. These aren't scratches. This is just the marks that they pick up. You see, the new Breitlings, as you've seen on some other videos, they flatten this case back off, but you probably can't do it with this anyway, having such a robust water resistance to it. Screwed down bezel there, look. This is a serious watch, guys. You know, and I prefer this taper. And the way the case back protrudes, it does mean the watch does sit quite comfortable on the wrist. You know, you don't get the edges of the case hitting your wrist at all. You've got to go to the stores and try these on. They always look bigger on screen. Okay. All right, guys, look, I'll wrap this up. But super happy with this. Super happy. All right, thanks for watching.